to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, the New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
me, Rob, here, somewhat on time.
Someone on time. Only 11 minutes late today. Oh, womp. But yeah, guys, we got a lot of information to go over with you guys. More news on the plane, boss, the plane. And of course, we have to also go over the girl who flashed her chest at the Giants game at the request of a Giants player. Yes.
Let's be mature about this. Her boobies. Yes. It wasn't like her lock and key.
So yes, once again on the show, we're going to talk about tatas. It happens, okay?
Yeah.
And once again, it's the OnlyFans.
Yeah. Let's go back to the milkers.
Yeah.
OnlyFans.
Oh my gosh. And then of course we're going to go over with you guys our picks with the our recap of our picks, the scores from week 14, and we have a couple more injuries to talk about because it's the Giants. What's there to talk about? But injuries and losses and poop storms, to put it nicely. So let's get right into the plane talk here because Nabers said he didn't rent the plane. I'm a little concerned this has to be a topic.
Like, who comes up and asks? Who asked that? Like,
no, that's the thing. Nobody asked it. That's the purpose of this thing. So they went up to him. They asked him, after the game, if he saw the plane. He said, "I ain't paid for the plane." And then he turns away. The reporter says, "I ain't got nothing to say." Like, no one asked you if you paid for it. Like, why? Like, why would that even come out of your mouth?
You had a friend do it for free.
If anything, I wonder now if he did pay for the plane because he's guilty conscious. How bad of a story would that be if Malik Nabers did pay for the plane? Like, yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah,
that would be extremely bad, guys. But yeah, the bigger issue I really have with it is the fact that you had an opportunity there for Malik Nabers to go ahead and do right by his teammates. Go ahead and stop people from talking about this in a negative way and say, "Listen, we're trying our butts off. I still have confidence in this team and the coaching staff and the GM, blah blah blah." But no, that's not what he went to. He went to, "I didn't pay for this. I promise you, it wasn't me."
Yeah,
that's not good, guys. Not at all. Oh my gosh! I guess I just can't believe that we're having this topic whatsoever. I really can't. But here we are. Trust me, plenty more topics today that we can't believe we're having. This is definitely one specifically that's going to be very, very interesting. That's for sure. Let's get into the next topic. We start breaking down some of the injury news here. Head coach Brian Daboll has announced that Drew Lock remains the starter. Guys, what the hell? Just when you thought we haven't messed up the quarterback situation enough. I mean, if DeVito's healthy enough to put out there for one play, because it was a designed DeVito play, as Daboll said. You said he was the starter. He lost it because of an injury. I understand that you want to give a guy a chance if he blows it out of the water. Like if DeVito didn't look that good, gets injured, and Drew Lock comes in and blows it out of the water, I get it. Am I crazy, Rob? Did Drew Lock blow it out of the water when I'm not like... The only thing he made it blow it out of the water is a rubber ducky in his tub he had, last night. I don't know. Yeah. Like, what the hell?
Or the nervous poops that he had, because my God. It was...
became a jet spa.
Yeah.
I don't get this. And it's like, this is the reason here why we're the laughing stock of this league. This is because decisions like this, like you want Jones back, Then you boot Jones off the team. You try to tell him to stay home. He won't stay home. You kick him off the team entirely and cut him. Then you go ahead and announce that DeVito is the starter because you think he's the better guy. He's a spark plug. Then you go ahead and he gets injured after like one game. You put the Drew Lock in. He doesn't really do anything for 2 games. You're like, let's go ahead and put Drew Lock still in. Like, what the hell?
I wonder if some of this coaching staff was listening to this podcast and talking about how bad we treated like Locke in this whole situation. Hey, like this is your here's your time to shine. And then when he gets his time to shine
bright like a diamond.
We gave him no chance to shine bright like a diamond. We put DeVito in. So is this them trying to write that mishap? But at the same time, like even I was upset. I shouldn't say upset. I was a little put off. We'll say that we decided to go with
harsh words.
DeVito over Locke. I think DeVito is a better quarterback. We're gonna be clear, but you hype this guy up. Hey, you're number 2. You're my number 2. Something happens to Jones, you're our number 1. And as soon as something happens to Jones, you're still our number 2.
Yeah.
Doesn't look good for us around the league. And that's why I was kind of put off by it.
Yeah.
But I also said, like, hey, like we should put him in for like one game, let him show what he's got. And everyone goes, why is there number 2? Put in DeVito and fan service. DeVito's in, and we just right off.
I mean, I got that move. I'm just saying, like, to reverse course like that, it just looks like you made the wrong call, and you're admitting that publicly now. And I don't see how that's the right call at all to go ahead and put Drew Lock, who's clearly no future whatsoever in this, on this team. And let's be very frank, he probably doesn't want a damn thing to do with this team going forward because of how crazy and cluster effy this has been, basically, to put it nicely, for him in this whole thing. Like honestly, if you were him, would you want to come back?
No,
of course not.
I'm saying, if I was Drew Lock, why would I want to come back? I'll take my chances with the Jets.
Yeah. The whole thing is just absolutely insane. Absolutely insane, guys. All right. Well, let's get into injury talk here. And actually, before we do that, I should mention, I don't know, that what the quote was Brian Daboll gave, because there actually is a chance that we do have Tommy DeVito after all, because when he spoke to reporters today on Monday, Brian Daboll said that Drew Lock's status was health permitting, and that he was currently undergoing an MRI for a couple of things. What, a couple of things? Like, how many MRIs are you needing for these things? Like, what the hell? Like, oh yeah, he's the starter. But by the way, he's going to have a few different MRIs today, so we'll find out. Like, what? Oh my gosh, this team is why I drink. This team is why I drink. Point blank.
Cheers.
Let's get into those injuries though, because that just makes it more fun. First injury we got to talk about, guys, is
my pride.
No, your pride's been injured long before you've been a Giants fan for quite a while. We got to talk about Tre Hawkins the Third, Esquire. Obviously, there's no Esquire at the end, I can put it there. But Hawkins out for the year. Out for the year. He went ahead and did solid by this team. He got his first career interception. Sunday against the Saints, doubling our interception total for the year from a whopping 1 to a whopping 2. And apparently they're saying now he's suffered a fractured lumbar spine. Like, ooh, that sounds kind of severe, guys. Like, am I crazy? Like, that sounds.
I wonder if it's just the part that kind of sticks out that supports your spinal cord. Either way, it's dangerous.
Yeah. So apparently, when they have these kind of fractures, what they do, and this is according to the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, that they patient wears a brace or a cast for about 12 weeks to avoid movement to allow for healing. So not quite as bad as it, could be, I guess, when you talk about a broken, like I'm hearing that.
It's a broken back.
Broken back, broken vertebrae. Like what? Spine? No. But I will say that they're saying that if you leave it untreated, though, it can lead to nerve damage and potentially even paralysis. But yeah,
so is that the part of the spine that sticks out in the back? Oh, the vertebrae that stick out. That supports the spinal cord.
What I'm seeing here is the very bottom of the vertebrae, like not quite the tailbone. But
okay, yeah.
But I am not a doctor. I don't want to pretend to be one. But they said here that that the braces they use maintain spinal alignment and immobilize the spine during healing. And if it's a severe fracture, they're usually going to recommend some kind of fusion. And I haven't heard anything about a fusion, but basically use a bone graft to fuse two vertebrae together. So I can't imagine that's it. I think we'd be hearing about that. But it's a little crazy, the whole scenario. That seems like a bigger injury than the story is being allowed to be. Like how do you break that anyway in the game?
Well, it's a fracture, so it's like it could be a chip, it could be a crack, it could be it could be something minor, like because your lumbar is the vertebrae at the lower part of the back, right above the tailbone. Because your L4, L5, that's like where I have my back surgery. That's your lumbars, but below that's your C's, and which is whatever they call that.
Yeah. Well, listen, this is the list of symptoms they're giving. Back pain that worsens with movement. Okay, I've been there. I've had that. Numbness, tingling, or weakness in the limbs. That doesn't sound fun. Bowel or bladder dysfunction. That's not cool.
Just go.
Yeah. Loss of consciousness, paralysis, muscle spasms, neck pain. Like, this does not sound good at all, guys. And for anybody who's ever had a back injury, that is pain like you would not wish on your worst enemy. That is bad. I mean, I've had days myself where I've literally gone to stand up and it's hurt so bad I fell to the ground. So, yeah, it's, we hope a speedy recovery for him, because that's not a fun thing to go through for anybody. It's really not. So, hopefully everything is minor and it's just wear that brace for a few months, like they said, and that's it. And hopefully pain's not too bad for him, because that's that kind of place is a bad place to get people to realize your lower back. Every single thing you do is shifting your hips around and stuff. It's all part of that. Everything you do. Walking, moving, bending over, all that stuff. It's everything you do is pretty much getting involved with that part of the body. So, like I said, best of luck to him there. So, let's talk about another injury. We're the Giants. Gotta have injuries. Yeah. Jon Runyan Jr., the guy who didn't miss an entire game for the Packers, which was the main reason why he was picked as the guy for the Giants to hire, because he can always stay healthy, is injured. Goddamn Giants. Sprained his ankle. He is week to week. Now, keep in mind, there's only 4 games left. So when you're week to week and you have no chance
shut him down,
playoffs, you might as well shut her down. That's what they're going to do. And you know why they're going to shut it down? I'll tell you why. Tank for it. But yeah, guys, there's no point of playing him. Let him get healthy. Let him come back next year healthy and ready to go. Don't risk him re-injuring and making it a bigger ordeal for the offseason for the guy. The season's over. It's over. It's done. And the nice thing is, if you take Runyan out, you get the chance to maybe put Jay Kubas in, the rookie that we've been looking at, trying to get a chance to take a look at in games here for the next couple of weeks. See what you got in him. As the kid from North Dakota State, the undrafted rookie free agent, they like so much, they literally put him on the active roster. That way nobody can get him off our practice squad. That speaks volumes what they thought of him. And they didn't really put him in games until last week. He was usually a one of the guys that on the roster that wouldn't be active for game day. But it's still the fact that they hid him all season long means they think highly of him. And he didn't do bad, especially in the run game when he got to play there last week against the Saints. So, definitely gave up a couple of hurries, but in the run game, he was very good. So, give the kid a chance. Let's see what he's got, because we're going to have a potential hole at some point on that, line next year as well, because we are the Giants. It's what we do. The Giants always have holes.
Wow.
All hail the New York Giants!
Oh, yes, that's what we are.
All hail the New York
No one's
Giants!
yelling us anymore, that's for sure. But all righty, guys. Let's talk about the latest insider report here. And it's not good if you're a person who wants change on this team, like Rob and I. If you're anybody with common sense. Insiders saying that the GM and the head coach are staying for the Giants there. And Deb already said that says it's depressing. Pat Tre and a couple other sources say that Mara will stick with Shane and Daboll, allow them to pick their QB, etc. And I'm sorry, I'm still going to say it. The second you paid Daniel Jones, guess what?
He's your quarterback.
You paid the man $40 million a year. He is now officially your quarterback. You may not have drafted him, but you decided to keep him. You could have went and got a cheap option. Nope, you kept this guy. He's yours. That's what it boils down to. He's yours.
Who was a free agent?
Huh?
Who was a free agent going to 2023?
I'd have to look up, to be honest with you here.
Yeah, Winston probably.
23.
Yeah, same. Going to 23. It's 22 we made it to the playoffs.
So I can look at here real quick. Here's the interesting one. Lamar Jackson was there, obviously.
Yeah, but we knew that was
Derek. I'm just saying, Derek Carr, Gino, who obviously re-signed. Let's go to guys who actually switched teams on that one.
Yeah,
Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Brissett,
no,
Mike White, Gardner Minshew,
no,
Teddy Bridgewater, Taylor Heineke,
no,
Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield.
That's what I said now. That could have been interesting.
It's a hindsight move. Let's be honest.
Mayfield. Yeah, Mayfield's a little bit of hindsight. But
Yeah,
how much actually? Let's think about this. Let's just think about this. Hold on. Go back to that. Mayfield. How much did he make 2023?
Okay. I'd have to look it up. They didn't say on the site. I just talked about that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm pretty sure Mayfield's not getting paid $40 million.
I don't think he's still not getting paid $40 million, and he's having a very, very good year this year. That's for sure. So, yeah, it's a site Walter Football that gave that, by the way. But yeah, like I said, that's just it's craziness, guys. But he's their guy. Once you made that move, that's your move, your guy. It's like saying, that you didn't decide to paint a house a certain color, but then you didn't repaint it ever. You don't get to not take the blame for that. As we're losing Rob here. Rob's apparently got a little bad internet signal there. That's what happens in that scenario. You take the blame because you're the one who made that call. Oops. As soon as I switched over is when we got Rob back there. Okay, so
that's been all those drones messing my Wi-Fi.
So let's get into the quote here. So Albert Breer said, and the reality is the Giants have been moving on really for the balance of the season. 2 weeks ago, pictures surfaced of Giants GM Joe Shane, assistant GM Brandon Brown, and director of player personnel Tim McDonald visiting Colorado practice. The three were in Boulder to get an up-close look at Buffalo's quarterback Shedeur Sanders on their way to the team's Thanksgiving game in Dallas. In a vacuum, it was an opportunity to see Sanders. In reality, it was part of a bigger effort. The Giants got their high-end evaluators multiple live exposures to 7 different college quarterbacks. Sanders, Miami's Cam Ward, Georgia's Carson Beck, Texas's Quinn Ewers, Ole Miss's Jackson Dart, Alabama's Jalen Milroe, and LSU's Garrett Nussmeier. Headed into the week, they went out to see Sanders in a practice setting. Over Thanksgiving weekend, they sent guys out again to get last look during the final weekend of college games. So what does it show? To me, it shows two things. First, the Giants were no illusion that they should bank on Jones breaking through to the level the way he did in 2022. Again, by picking up the $30.5 million on his contract for next season. Second, it makes it apparent that the plan has been, as Mara has said, to stay the course with the current regime and to give Shane and Brian Daboll the chance to draft a quarterback. Will they still? It's a fair question. There are the aforementioned 8 consecutive losses and the lack of a win at MetLife Stadium, a stadium over which some colorful commentary on the team's season flew Sunday. But there's also the fact that the Giants have, as I mentioned a few times, pulled the plug quickly 3 times in the past decade, and that premise that Mara almost certainly doesn't want to do it again. Screw you, John Mara. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it like that. I don't give it you feel like you pulled the plug too early 3 times. This is not too early. This is a goddamn train wreck. Goddamn train wreck. And if you want to get legitimate about it here, Pat Shurmur was a crappy hire. You never should have made that hire. You made that hire because point blank, nobody else wanted the goddamn job. Nobody else did.
Much.
Then you go ahead and you get in here, Joe Judge, who was underqualified. Point blank, underqualified.
Yeah, we all got ecstatic because Bill Belichick said he's a great guy and should have the job. But let's look at Bill Belichick's coach's tree. Yeah,
which is scary because we've said we want to actually bring him on as a football czar, but it is what it is. That's why I want Mike Vrabel as his coach. He's just removed from Bill Belichick enough to be a good coach, but you brought in a guy who's not qualified for it, and that's what happened. And this all stems from the very first regime that you got rid of too quickly. And I purposely waited to the very end because it illustrates all the problem we had. Is you got rid of Tom Coughlin so you can keep Ben McAdoo. Where was the loyalty then? Because that's my problem I have with this whole scenario. You have some schlubs that point blank shouldn't have been the goddamn coach of the Giants. And you have loyalty to those people, but you didn't have it with the man who brought you 2 goddamn Super Bowl rings. That's an issue.
That's Giants.
That's a goddamn issue. You literally forced the man to retire to try to save some face instead of firing him because you didn't have the balls to do it then. Same as you had the balls to fire Gettleman and you let him walk away at the end of the season a couple years ago as well. I'm just going to say it like that. John Mara is a nice guy. I actually believe that. I genuinely believe that. But I think he's too nice a guy because he chickened out and did a whole fiasco with Coughlin. By the way, he just did the same fiasco with Daniel Jones that is cutting his ass too. And then you have guys you hired that you feel bad about firing too early now that weren't even qualified for the job. Do you honestly think if anybody else, if we hadn't signed Pat Shurmur to be the head coach, that anybody else was going to sign him?
My go-to beat-up team, the Raiders. They had Gruden at that point. So
that's what I'm saying. Like nobody else was going to hire this guy. Do you think anybody else was going to hire Joe Judge?
No, that dude shot for the stars, and he got it.
This is what I'm saying. The loyalty is misplaced to a coaching and GM duo that have literally brought you 1 good year of the 3 years they've been here. And the years have gotten worse and worse.
And not like just progressively, like exponentially worse and worse.
You say progressive? Brought to you by.
Progressive. Yeah.
But it's like,
please, save me some car insurance.
But like seriously, like where I don't understand that part of this whole thing. Like, and you can't sit there and say I've been too quick to get rid of people, because as I see Deb in the comments section too, read that Mara pulled the plug in previous coaches because they clearly lost the locker room, which is not the case now as the team is still playing for Daboll. 100%. He pulled the plugs. He had to. Those coaches all lost the locker room, especially McAdoo. Oh, my God. That was a train wreck when he left.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Remember that? Like, Spags had to come be the interim head coach for a while because it was just that bad. It was a cluster, point blank. I'm sorry, but I get it that the team has still been playing for Daboll, but it's not playing well. Like, we got to set the bar a little higher than the team's still trying.
Yeah. Yay, they showed up.
That's the college try. This is the professionals, God damn it.
Let's get a you showed up today ribbon.
Yeah, at the end of the year, we'll do a participation trophy for the Giants. Put the banner up. 2024. We tried.
We tried award. Yay.
Tried. We're number 1 in the draft.
Yeah.
It's goddamn pathetic, guys. It's goddamn pathetic. Like it's and again, I think my biggest issue is the fact that when he felt he had to make moves. And I don't begrudge him for feeling he had to make moves. Daniel Jones was clearly the right move to get rid of him. It was done. We called it for weeks before they actually did it. Coughlin, I disagree with it, but I don't hate it. But I hate the way those two moves went down because Mara chickened out both times instead of just doing it and saying, listen, we're done. We're pulling the plug. It's business. It's not personal. And at a certain point, you got to get a pair of huevos to do what you got to do.
Yeah. And he definitely takes his business personally.
Yes.
So.
And if you're worried about the quarterback part, again, I'll reiterate, the second they paid Daniel Jones $40 million a year, he became their goddamn quarterback.
See, I'm going to dispute that just a smidge. Because I do agree with what you're saying, but I don't fully agree with it because
you got to pick a side. Okay, come on.
No. Let me finish before you interrupt. Let me finish.
Is that a piece under your helmet, soldier?
I'm just letting you. I made to let you make your points. Come on, man. Like
I got to go full metal jacket on you at that point. I can't help myself.
Who else were they going to get that year that actually switched teams? In hindsight, you had Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, who was not anything at that time. He now this year is looking like the first round pick that he should have been, 10 years ago at this point. So you can't sit there and say there was someone on the market that was going to be worthwhile to pay when we agreed at the time too. Like, hey, you could pay this guy for a couple of years and get rid of him.
Yep.
And he's the best guy. He was the best guy that was in free agents.
Yeah. I mean,
at the time.
I get it. My issue, though, is just that, again, they made that call. They signed off on it. If you didn't think that, then you should have moved on. And it's different for me or you to sit there and say, okay, this makes sense because of X, Y, and Z. We're not there. We're not there to see the practices. We're not there to see what's going on in the locker room. We're not there to sit there and, know the offensive plays to really evaluate how he's doing. Shane and Daboll are. They don't get that pass.
Yeah, touche.
So that's the difference. And listen to me, I would love the Giants ever want to give us access to sit down with these guys and learn the plays of what they have going on. Sign me up. We're there. But we don't have that option.
Yeah. And we talk about the whole personal thing, with DJ instead. Let's not forget, we opted out his 5th year. We could have just said at that point, hey, we're just give this guy, let's see what we could do with him in 2 years.
Yep.
And then go from there. Because then at the same time, you could still draft another quarterback at a cheaper rate or pick someone up and not be paying him. What was the first year? $19 million?
Yeah, it wasn't that much. We paid him year 1.
Yeah. So, but year 5 of rookie contracts is still way cheaper than.
Yeah, well, they didn't have any faith in him. And all of a sudden they got, I think, honestly, they thought they'd be bad and get a quarterback, and they overplayed how well they beyond what they expected in 22, and that killed that opportunity. But again, you don't go out and just get a quarterback because you want a quarterback. You have to get the right one because you sit yourself back for multiple years when you do the wrong one, as we're now witnessing.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, my issue with them is way beyond that. My issue with them is the arrogance of Joe Shane and how he treated Saquon Barkley in Hard Knocks, talking publicly, talking trash about the man. My issue is the way he, went about everything with this Daniel Jones situation. Again, Daniel Jones was not the answer. I'm not saying we keep Daniel Jones, but he treated him like crap. Brian Daboll took over the offensive play calling. The offense has gone downhill since then. He's supposed to be an offensive genius. He's a mastermind of the offense, guys. Can't you tell?
Yeah,
I'm fed up with those guys, and I'm sorry, but Joe Shane and Brian Daboll, both. At this point, I feel like we're playing off of other people's successes in Buffalo because Buffalo ain't missing them, guys.
No, Josh Allen went out with balls out. He did his best, and we'll talk about it later too. But he literally put Buffalo on his shoulders. It wasn't enough, but that 6 touchdowns, my God, that guy balled.
But do you think Brandon Beane is missing Joe Shane right now? Does it seem like he's having trouble developing a roster? No. That's what I'm saying. It's both of them. And by all accounts, Brian Daboll is about to be thrown out of Buffalo anyway as it was. I wonder why. It's almost like he has trouble getting along with people. I haven't seen that at all in New York. I'm just saying, and we all bought it at the time. We all fed that bill of goods that that this was the best duo available that offseason. We should be excited about it. And you and I talked about it the first year we did the podcast because that was the first year. And I was on another show before we even started our podcast, and it's kind of my trial run to see what I thought about doing as a podcast. And we had a whole segment on that show. It was the Giants Zone, by the way, which is unfortunately no longer around. But, we talked about it, that I said, is, he actually a good coordinator? Because he failed in Miami, he failed in Cleveland, he failed in Kansas City. But all of a sudden, he's a guru because one quarterback made it.
Out of the 17 teams he was on before becoming a Giant.
It just, like I said, it just seems like we wanted that narrative to stick, and the Giants clearly wanted to stick, and it's time to admit the mistake and move on, guys. I'm fed up and I'm done. So, all right, let's get into a more fun topic here. Oh yes. Hide the women and children. Well, maybe not the women, but the children at least, because we got to talk about OnlyFans models again on this show. As an OnlyFans model claims she flashed the Saints during the game to distract them. I never thought we'd have this kind of topic on the show.
Yeah.
Here we are again, talking about OnlyFans. By the way, if you search Two Giant Goofball OnlyFans, you'll probably come up with the other episode we did as well about an Eagles player who literally ran out on the bill for prostitution with an OnlyFans model. It was allegedly. It was a funny alleged story.
Yeah.
But anyway,
my God, that woman can run, by the way.
It is, and I didn't look the pronunciation of her name, so I don't know if it's Ava or Ava Louise. I assume it's Ava, AVA. But anyway, she said on social media that is it Ava? How do you know?
It's Ava.
How do you know? Check his credit card slips.
Oh, Johnson, you don't buy the cow and you get the milk for free. But I knew an Ava.
Some people looking for a herd of cows. I don't know what you're doing. Anyway.
Well, there's a recall on some of that dairy, so be careful with those guys.
It's not raw milk. I've heard bad about that. But anyway, she's on social media saying she flashed her chest at the Giants game on Sunday after being asked by an unnamed Giants player. Now, she did share the screenshot of the text messages. So the person said, "Hey, sexy, got those 2 free tickets to the game if you do me a solid and flash the Saints to distract them." She goes back and says, "OMG, what FR," which for those who aren't hip with the times is for real. How?
You totally Googled that, didn't you?
No, I really didn't have to Google that one. I didn't. I got that. I'm not that old. So, but yeah, how? And the person comes back and says, I play for the Giants. I got you. And then she says, haha, what number? So I make sure you get a good look. Oh my God. So they go back and said, you'll be able to figure that out easily at the game. Can't have you put me on blast and get me fined money symbols twice, LOL, or knowing you get me fired. Then she comes back with email me the tickets, then gives her email address and says, I'll see what I can do. She did show a picture of her flashing her chest at the game, though she did also put a censor bar across it and covered her breast in the picture, which obviously, because you have to do that for social media rules and stuff like that. But for all we know, she covered her nipples with like X's on the nipples, something. I don't know. Because to the best of my knowledge, if you do that at a game, you'll be banned from going to NFL games. And NFL does not mess around. If you get caught running on the fields or doing whatever, like they will ban you for life from NFL. Like you'll be trespassed from every NFL stadium there is, and every NFL event. They don't mess around. I can tell you when I went to the Pro Bowl last year, a bunch of people did that. And yeah, you saw them afterwards still in handcuffs when the game was over with the police talking to them still. The NFL do not mess around. What I'm curious about is with all the missed kicks in this game, was that what happened? Just saying, there was a lot of missed kicks in this game here. Like
blinded by the Titans.
Just saying. He couldn't put it to the uprights because he was upright at the time. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the upright was upright.
I'm just saying. Oh my God! But this is crazy. Now I did some.
What 6 to midnight?
I did do some looking here to try to figure out what player it was that has not been announced. The initials given on the text message chat, whatever it was, I don't know. I haven't even been on OnlyFans because I'm not going to pay for that stuff. It's free online everywhere. But it's like, for what? I guess that it's like is there a message board on OnlyFans? I don't know. Rob, do you know these things?
I don't have OnlyFans. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know if it's a text or an OnlyFans chat message, whatever it is. Irregardless, the initials on the chats are TD. There's only one TD on the team, and that's Mr. Tommy DeVito. Now, I will say this. If Tommy DeVito talks like that, I will be shocked. The language is not what I would expect from the little Italian boy who lives with his mommy. I'm just saying. I could be wrong. People have shocked me before. But, yeah. I'm not saying it's Tommy DeVito, but I got to put him as suspect number one because TD, I literally looked at the Giants roster. He is the only player with the initials TD. Now, he could have just put TD as like a football reference as his name on OnlyFans. I don't know how it works.
I don't know. Or you go deep dive and see who has first name with a T and the middle initial with a D.
I don't think we're going to get that. That seems like a lot of detective work. That is way beyond the goofball work here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy. Like, who would have thought that would ever be a story there? It's just as James suggests, Kayvon TD Thibodeau
defense.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, it just let me put it this way. Kayvon does some crazy stuff. Maybe he got some advice. To Lourdes Taylor. He used to always hire the hookers for the opposing teams and all. Like that seems like a
get a hold of blow.
This is like a modern version of an LT move here. That's for sure. It's hilarious, and good for this girl as well because she's going to get guarantee a lot more subscribers her page at that point because I never heard of her before. I don't pretend to be the guy who knows who these OnlyFans are. I don't do that. But yeah, like I said, it absolutely insane. And I really do want to find out when she did it, to find out if a play got messed up or it was one of the missed kicks or whatever the case may be, because they'd be goddamn hilarious if that happened.
Especially because that stadium was not sold out.
It was definitely not. Nobody else was there to see it, basically.
Yeah, it's free range.
No word yet if she was flying the plane as well overhead. She jumped out of a plane topless during the game.
Just parachute down.
Use her G-string as a parachute. Oh my god.
The resistance is terrible on this thing.
Stories we could talk about in the show. Odeon Goofballs. I guarantee you most podcasts will not touch that story. We're going to do it. We don't care.
No.
Screw it. All right, guys. Let's pay the bills real quick because we're not on OnlyFans. We need some help.
Yeah.
And then we'll be right back here to go ahead and talk about the
RTDs
recap there for week 14. I don't think anybody wants to see us topless. If they do, though, listen, a super chat. Maybe it'll happen.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All righty, guys. And of course, as always, you can also support the show by doing a super chat on YouTube. You can do stars on Facebook. Or if you want to do the free method of helping us out there, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share. We do at least 3 shows a week there, if not 4 during the season, like right now. Sometimes even 5 if you want to count the play-by-play episodes we do as well for the live during the games. So, like I said, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe, hit that share, especially on YouTube, guys. That's definitely our preferred location. If you want to subscribe just one place, that is our ask. We are on a quest to hit 1,000 subscribers, and we are just about there. Not too much longer to go. So, again, appreciate you guys helping us out there. Let's get into our recap here of week 14. I can't believe it's week 14 already. Where does time go? Where does it go? It's like,
gonna be draft night sooner than later.
I hope so. Get a quarterback finally.
Yeah.
Let's talk about week 14 here. As of course, we're gonna do 14. We're gonna have the Red Rocket himself there, Andy Dalton, because he just has a nice hairdo. I'm jealous. I wish I had his hair. And I wish I just had hair in general, but I mean, it's a nice do he's got. The guy's got a nice do. Let's get into week 14 here. So, recapping it here. So we start off, of course, as always, Thursday night with the Packers at the Lions. Lions were 3.5-point favorites. Over under was 51.5. The game ended up going 31-34 in favor of the Lions. You and I both picked the Lions to win. You and I both picked the Lions to beat the spread. Unfortunately, they won by 3, and it was a 3.5-point spread, so we lost by 0.5 point there. I did get the over. You had the under, so I got 2 points. You got 1.
Yeah, that division's pretty gnarly. It's pretty tough. So, like, leading into this next week, you got the Lions with 12 wins. You got 11 wins with Minnesota, and now you got the 9 wins with the Packers. So you had 11, 10, and 9 going into this week, and it's still anyone's ball game up there. So, yeah, good stuff. Up next, you had the Jets, the terrible Jets, going into Miami, playing the Fins. The Dolphins were favored by 5.5 points, and the over was at 44.5. And yeah, what else can I say? The Jets have just been playing terrible football. The Dolphins kind of came around and started playing like the Dolphins had prior. Even though it was still a higher scoring game, Drew got the over in this one. Dolphins win 32-26. And you and I both went Fins, and you took the over and I took the under, giving you a trifecta.
Oh, yes. I got the trifecta here. We got it. Let's get into the next game, which, by the way, Rob, have you realized something? You know what animal they gave you this time?
I have no idea. I can't see it.
You are anonymous pumpkin this time. You're not even an actual animal. They gave you a pumpkin.
It's not even that season anymore.
I'm a bit confused by that in general. It just seems a bit odd. So as we continue every week letting people know as Rob anonymously logs into the picks, what animal, what creature Google gives, because Google's just weird like that.
They just call me Pumpkin.
Hey, Pumpkin. Anyway, we got the Falcons at the Vikings, guys, which was, billed as to be a nice, decent setup game at that point there, because it's two teams that are in the hunt for playoffs. Obviously, the Vikings are a better team, but they're also a tougher division, so they're both having to kind of scrap their way to get in. Well, the Vikings did a lot more scrapping in this game, that's for sure, as they won 42-21, guys. So, in this game here, we both picked the Vikings to win, so we both got the point there. I had picked the Vikings to cover the spread. You picked the Falcons to keep it close at least. So we both lost. So I won there and you lost there. Over under we both lost on because we went under, and
it's a high scoring game.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the Vikings almost went over by themselves at that point with 63 points total there. So 2 points for me, 1 point for you.
Yeah. And which is amazing because you got Kirk Cousins setting some the NFL records right now because he's 4 games, no touchdowns, with at least 1 interception in each game. I think he's got 8 total, which leaves you the question: does Penix Jr. see the field this year?
It's what? Listen, I'm going to say it right now. I'm hoping and not hoping at the same point that it's against the Giants because I'll be at that game in Atlanta, and my thoughts on Michael Penix Jr. I was a big fan of him coming out. I think he's the real deal. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but he's the real deal, and I'm actually very curious to see what happens. And I think that Kirk Cousins is going to make somebody a very good bridge quarterback next year. I think he's just not as good as he was because he looked better than he was because he had Justin Jefferson.
Well, that, and you also have to question how great is like that offense for Minnesota, because Sam Darnold looked like that first round draft pick that he was drafted to be, almost a decade ago, just balling out. It's fantastic.
And by the way, JJ McCarthy had his second surgery, I heard. So I wonder now if they're going to tag Sam Darnold to keep him 1 more year, so they kind of hedge their bets next year at the quarterback position. We'll find out on that. And that will change the quarterback market this offseason because we talked about it. There's really 2 good quarterbacks in the draft. There's more in there, but there's 2 consensus top tier quarterbacks. There's going to be a lot of teams needing a quarterback. So if Sam Darnold's not in the mix, that puts the Jaguars, if they end up in one of the first 2 spots, in a very, very good spot to make a good draft day trade. And it makes it where anybody who is a free agent becomes that much more valuable. It makes it where the Falcons, if they do trade Kirk Cousins, can ask even more for him. Like I said, it's going to be an interesting offseason. If the Giants start winning some games, not that I think that's a big risk, but if they start winning some games, guys, we could be in quarterback issue land big time. All right.
Well, let's talk about the Giants. That's the next game up. You got the Saints coming into MetLife playing the Giants.
Go with the Saints.
They come marching in
when the
with
Saints
the drones.
See some tatas.
Just should sit away. Anyway, we both took the Saints to win this game. You took the Saints to cover that 4.5 points. I took the Giants thinking it's going to be a lackluster, low-scored, terrible, sloppy game.
With the Giants? No, that would never happen.
Which I was right. And apparently I put the over, which I thought I put the under in there. But whatever. It is what it is. So, Drew, you get 2 points. I get 2 points. I actually put the over. Why I thought that, because I thought they were just going to be throwing the ball all over the place. So, 14-11.
I will always bet the under in every Giants game.
Pretty much going forward, especially with the Saints. Eek.
That's the way, definitely where it goes. So, then you got the Panthers at the Eagles in the game that I said this would happen, And it did. It was so. The Panthers lost. Eagles won 22-16, but guys, there was a 12.5-point spread. It was ridiculous. So you and I
Biggest
both
spread of the
picked
week.
Eagles. I don't know about that. Depends whether that girl did at Giants Stadium.
Yeah.
By the way, if anybody's watching this segment when we cut this up into segments and didn't find out, there's a whole segment about an OnlyFans girl flashing the Saints during the game. So I'll just break that in there just in case you're just watching the
She
pic,
flashed
the recap.
TDs for TDs.
Yes. Well, hopefully not having STDs.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, the Eagles won as we both expected. So you and I both got a point there. But the Panthers beat that spread there. 12.5-point spread. Like you said, absolutely ridiculous. They only won by 6, which is, much more of a typical spread there at that point. But I think that everybody wanted to pick the Eagles so bad in this game that they just had to hedge their bets there. And she made it a crazy spread trying to go ahead and get the spread going there. So I got the point of the spread there. You and I both put the over. Obviously, it went nowhere near over, so neither one of us got it there. So I got 2, you got 1. We're also getting a correction here from James saying Saints won, which I thought you said. I don't know if we maybe misspoke. Yes, Saints won the game.
Yes.
Giants beat the spread, though.
Yeah, I won with the Giants spread. There's difference.
Yes,
which is fine.
Clarifying just in case we misspoke because we both done it time to time. It happens. So
happens to us. But yeah, the next game you had the Browns and the Steelers, and talk about losing the over under again. We both took the over in this game, which we were close, but 44 was it 43.5 points, and they only scored 41 points.
Yep.
In the game. Yeah, we took the Saints. We both took the Steelers to win this game, but 6.5-point spread for the Steelers, and you took the Browns, thinking they could get within 6 a touchdown there, but that didn't happen. I took the Steelers. I got 2 points. You got 1.
What can Brown do for you? Clearly not.
Where was Winston? Where was the motivational speeches?
Clearly not winning with the spread pick for me. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Then we got the team we really wanted to have. The 2 teams, I should say, we really wanted to beat their opponents to help our draft stock. First, we had the Raiders going against the Buccaneers in the swashbuckling battle for best pirate in the NFL. And, of course, the Buccaneers won that as we kind of expected there, 28-13. So you and I both picked the Bucs to win. We both picked the Bucs to go ahead and beat the spread at that point. So we both got it there. You did pick them for the under, so that got you the trifecta, whereas I got the over. So you win that one 4-2.
Fantastic. Up next, you get the Jaguars going in. Fantastic. Up next, you get the
played.
Yeah, you get the team that's battling for last place with the Giants, the Jaguars, going into Tennessee playing the Titans. Good old divisional matchup over here. Titans were favorite at home by 3.5 points, with the over-under at 39.5 points. Drew and I were both smart enough to put the under in this game because both these teams can't put up any points.
Nope.
And you had Trevor Lawrence that was out for this game with an amazing score of 10-6.
Woo.
Jaguars win.
Our offensive juggernaut.
Yeah. Drew, you got the trifecta in this game. I got a point in this game because I took the Titans. You took the Jaguars. I thought the Titans could squeak out a win without Trevor Lawrence being there.
I remember the Titans suck.
So did the Jaguars. Look at the score. It was terrible.
I get it, but honestly, I think that I honestly think that the big thing is that there's a certain quarterback who failed in New England who wants to prove that he's not as bad as New England thought he was. I mean, didn't do a great job at 10 points, but they still won the game.
I was gonna say.
Still won the game.
Gonna say.
But yeah, that was a game that I honestly was kind of thinking with my heart what I wanted because I wanted the Jags to win. I thought there's a game the Jags can beat. Actually, beat an opponent finally for once. I'd have a shot in hell. I thought the Raiders would win that game. So at least we got 1 out of 2. Speaking of 1, we got 1 point in this whole thing. The Seahawks at the Cardinals, and Seahawks destroy them 30-18. Guys, you and I both picked the Cardinals to win and beat the spread. Neither happened, but you at least got the over, whereas I had the under, so you got the 1 point there for Gryffindor.
Yeah. Talk about a division. That's really exciting because it's a good segue too. Is like right now you get the Seahawks winning the NFC West with what eight wins. They're 8-6, I believe. After this,
So
excited.
they're
Which
5. They're 8-5. The Rams are 7-6. The Niners and the 49ers and the Cardinals are both 6-7.
Yeah. So the Rams, which is the next game coming up, they hosted the Bills. They won this game, giving them the first time this year a 500 above 500 record, because they started off 1-4. They started playing better ball. Drew and you and I both took the Bills to win this game and to cover. We got 0 points on any of that because the Rams came in and put up 44 points against the Bills, 42. So you took the under and I took the over in this one, giving us the only points in this game was the over here. And let's just talk about how Josh Allen, I feel like he's really trying to get himself nominated for MVP because that man put that team on his shoulders and legit was making plays. Too bad he can't play defense.
Thank God Brian Daboll built him up, huh?
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. Can't succeed without that, man.
I was about to say, nothing without him.
Oh, yeah. Freaking. I can't help myself. You know what's crazy? I'm looking at the stats here. So look up the standings for the NFC West here. So the Rams are literally the second lowest points total for in the conference. So the only one with worse points is the Cardinals, who have 284 points, and they have 298. But both the Rams and the Niners, the Seahawks and the Niners are both over 300 points. They have the most points given up at 332. That's a little crazy.
Little cray.
Second worst offense points-wise, worst defense points-wise in their division, yet they're 7-6.
That's what happens when you get Jon Runyan Jr, your head coach.
That's why they played the game.
Yeah.
Craziness there. All righty. Next up.
It's on you.
Oh, I thought it was mine. Oh, yeah, that's right. You just the Bills. So we got the Bears at the 49ers, and I did a stupid thing.
You did.
I shouldn't have. And I knew what I was saying, and I shouldn't have done. I'm like, you know what? Every so often they get a shot for something weird. The Niners crushed them 38-13 there, guys. So I had picked the Bears, you picked the 49ers. I had picked the Bears for the spread, obviously, then. You picked the 49ers. You got your 2 points there. We both picked the under, so we didn't get any points in that one there. But yeah.
Womp.
Yeah. Not good.
No. Not at all. But it was a pretty good game. It was the 8 o'clock game last night. You got the Chargers going into Kansas City. Not in Kansas, but Missouri. The Chargers,
City, Kansas too. Who knows? I don't know their travel plans.
They may have traveled through. Anyway, but Chiefs were favored by 4 points in this game. The over-under was at 43 points. Divisional matchup. Yeah, the Chargers have been flying on the radar how good they've been playing football this year. Chiefs have been flying above the radar on how bad they've been playing, if you will.
But somehow still winning.
That's what I'm saying. They're winning games, but they're winning games they probably shouldn't be winning.
Yes.
But we both took the Chiefs to win this game, which absolutely right. We both took the Chargers to cover that 4-point spread. Both got points there. With the over-under being 43 points and the Chiefs winning by 2 points, 19-17. You took the over, gave you 0 points. I got the under, giving me the trifecta, 2-4 in this game.
All right. And then, of course, we have the last game, the one that's going on currently as we speak. Let's take a look.
Tied up, 17-17.
Is that what it is? We got Bengals, Cowboys.
Yep, 17-17.
Just under 7 minutes left in the third quarter. Now, you and I in that game both picked the Bengals to win and to cover. The only difference in how we scored it is I picked the under, you picked the over, which right now the under looks like a decent bet, but there's still plenty of time for that to change. We'll see how that goes. 34 points in. You got another quarter and a half to play, so I could easily change. So we'll see. But as of right now, Rob is up by 1 point this week here, which if that would put my current total at 11 points, I'm up on the season. But this game is going to determine. As we lost Rob entirely. He got cocky and he left. But yeah, it's probably going to determine basically the week for us. There is that game going on right now. So we'll see overall what happens. Either Rob's going to win by an additional point or two and be 2 or 3 points up for the week, or I will go ahead and tie him up. We'll see what happens there, or potentially go up by 1 point there if I get my trifecta. So we'll see what happens. We'll be back again next time for Wednesday for you guys. And Rob is going to be doing his own solo show on Wednesday here. No Drew, just Rob, assuming he can stay on the screen. But we're going to be on talking about all the latest Giants news there for you. Rob will also be going and give you guys the preview of the Ravens game as well. Obviously, no shot in hell of us winning it, but we can at least look for some things to look at, like how good the run defense does, for example, after looking good last week. A couple of things, and try to be at least somewhat positive. We'll be back again for you also on Thursday doing our picks episode for you. And, of course, on Sunday, we'll do our post-game show for the Ravens game as well. And perhaps we'll do a play-by-play episode as well for you guys on that as well. So before we go, though, we're going to go ahead and give you guys also a rundown of all the comments here. So we appreciate all getting involved in this year. Dennis starts off, in troubled times, it's time to turn to humor. Yeah, that's what we got to do. It's sad when the losing doesn't even affect me anymore. I'm one of those people that really usually ticks me off. Doesn't even affect me right now. Dennis says, get some ice cream and think of something. All right. Deb said, someone else mentioned that Nabers, when he first got off the plane the day after the draft, he looked miserable. People are wondering if he never wanted to come here. I don't think that's an issue. Honestly, I don't. I think he's just tired of losing. He could have been excited to come here and play with Daniel Jones. Let's be honest. There's Rob. Back. Rob is back.
Back again.
But yeah, so like I said, I think that again, he probably wasn't excited to come here and play for with Daniel Jones. He already kind of said as much when he was in the interviews, the draft combine and all. But like I said, see what happens there. Once he gets a real quarterback, I think he'll be happy. If the Giants are winning, he'll be happy. So
yeah.
Demon Time says that banner they flew over the stadium was wild. LMAO. Yes, yeah, it was. He says that's unheard of. It might be unprecedented. It's not unheard of. It happens. It's definitely not happens. So that happens all the time. Definitely not good when it happens, but it's happened before. Just not with the Giants because they haven't been this bad since like the 70s.
Yeah.
We need Arch Manning, boys. Am I right? Manning belong in New York. No, because he's not coming out till 26, and I'm not waiting another year. Not going to happen. So, Deb says there was more to Coughlin getting the boot than we heard. Coughlin had class and shaking his hand at that news conference. Eli with tears, and Coughlin told him it wasn't his fault. Yeah, I would love to, hear exactly what happened there behind the scenes, and hopefully that'll get released one day. But so far, Coughlin has been too classy to release it. And like I said, we've talked before about the football czar thing and having Belichick in there. Maybe Coughlin's the guy if Belichick doesn't want to do it, because we need an outside guy coming in. And it'd be nice to give Coughlin a chance to come back. It would. And then Deb says the Guru's passed on Penix and Nix. Yeah. They didn't even bring those guys in. They were so focused on the top three guys, they really didn't even follow up on actually the top four, because McCarthy as well. But they didn't really follow the other guys at all, which is just insanity when you have that big of an issue at the most important position on your entire roster. And obviously, you're looking at people that could play that position. Obviously, Deb knows I was a big fan of Penix, as was Rob, and I'm not going to say I preferred him over Nabers, because Nabers has special talent as well. But at the end, you need a quarterback. And I'm not going to see what quarterback we get this year and how that pans out, but it has the potential to be the wrong move. That's fair. The potential.
I understand what you're saying. That's what I'm going to leave it at that.
I'm going to say because of the position. Nabers was
Right.
was a better talent in this draft, but the position is such an important position that if you get the chance to get a quarterback, you get him.
You got
who your receivers are if you have no one to throw them the damn ball.
I was about to say, listen, like, because what we're going to get, we're not going to Drake May, so you come out. Do you reach for, like, at the time, like, we didn't think Penix would go, in the 6th pick.
Yeah, no.
You didn't think he was going to the 9th pick. You think he would come get him in the wraparound?
Whoa.
Ooh.
Whoa.
On a Monday. But
all this talk of naked women, huh?
But we're talking, let's talk about stretching, I guess, a little bit. Like, do you want to reach for a pick and say, like, you got your quarterback, we just got him at the sixth pick instead of in the 2nd round?
I'm not going to say you reach for him. I think the big issue was the Giants should have had the feelers out to know that he wasn't going to last for them to trade back into the 1st round or anything like that. And they had to make their decision. But they didn't bring the guy in like that with the other guys.
They didn't. That is a problem.
Now, did they bring him in at all? I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't on Hard Knocks. I don't want to fully condemn that part of it.
Correct. But also
didn't show that they brought him in.
But also, like, as much as I don't want to give these guys right now a pass,
don't do it.
It's the first time in how long the 6 quarterbacks were taken in the 1st round.
Yeah.
So, like,
you don't think the NFL people had a talk with other NFL people and didn't get that out a little bit?
I hear what you're saying, but who thought the wild card would have been Atlanta paying for Cousins and then drafting a quarterback and reaching for one?
Well, it seems to be the right move now, the way things are going.
Then why pay Cousins in the first place?
Because you were hoping to not have to play Penix for a year or two.
That's what the hope was, but
hopes and dreams.
But you reach for one.
Apparently you do, and apparently it might work out.
And also might not.
It very may, yeah. Who knows? We'll find out. James says, "So stupid, OnlyFans girl." Then Deb says, NFL Network host Robert Turbin, former running back there, said Dylan Gabriel is 2nd best quarterback in this draft. You heard it here, kids. Yeah, I mean, we talked about Gabriel. Gabriel's a guy I like in this draft. I think that he is a college quarterback, meaning that he's going to have a better, successful career as a college quarterback than he'll probably ever have as a pro. And keep in mind, he's up for the Heisman. I don't think he'll ever be up for an NFL MVP. I don't think he's that good. But I do think in the right system, with the right weapons around him, he could succeed. You put the wrong weapons around him, you put the wrong system, I think he is going to fall flat in his face. And that's why he's not, to me, a top-tier quarterback, and I can't put him as 2nd best quarterback in the league. In the draft. But I could easily see him being a guy that sneaks in like the 2nd round. And I don't think that's ridiculous. But he's a little bit older, and some people are going to hit him for that because he's a little bit older. Especially when you got the kid in Penn State that's only 20 years old coming out that people think is raw, but he's 20 years old. That's a big difference between drafting somebody at 20 and drafting somebody at, about to turn 24 years old in Dylan Gabriel. 4 years is a big difference in this league.
It only hurts my feelings because I'm got 15 years on him.
I know. It's okay. I have more, so don't worry. James says, can't believe Joe and Daboll might keep their job. We'll see. I mean, Joe Judge was supposed to be keeping his job too.
Yeah.
Things happen as things wind down. And one thing that gets Mara's blood pumping is being embarrassed. Wade.
Especially like my plane ride. I mean, what?
What? Ooh, what? As I said, get a fleet of planes on the show yesterday. I don't care. I mean, get a fleet. I want a squadron band going. Wade Deviney says, I don't know if you guys touched it earlier, but hear me out of this one. Darnold to the Giants for 25 to 26 as the new QB sits. I think someone's going to throw him a big contract or he's going to be tagged.
I don't think he's leaving Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't think he does either now that J.J. McCarthy had a second surgery. But regardless, if he was to leave, he's not going to leave for a 2-year deal.
Yeah, he's going to get paid. I think Minnesota is going to pay him big time.
I think someone's going to pay him. I don't think Minnesota will. Minnesota will tag him, I think. And they'd be smart to do it. Tag him, make him repeat that success before you give him a massive deal. So, all righty, guys. But that's going to call it a night for us. Again, we'll see you guys again. Well, Rob will see you again, I should say, on Wednesday, doing
Wednesday.
Ravens and Giants preview along with all the latest Giants news. And then, like I said, we're back again Thursday and Sunday, as always. Again, we're always live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and, of course, Rob's favorite, profile. And, of course, as always, we are available also the next day on all the audio podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, all the big ones there. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe and like on, if you're an audio person, on the videos. If you're a video person, on the audios, because sometimes you're in the car and you just want to have set in the background while you're driving to work, and sometimes you're sitting around and you want to watch something on the phone or your TV at that point where you're waiting for somebody to get out of the bathroom or something. I don't know. So we could be there for you.
Or while you go to the bathroom.
What?
Or while you go into the bathroom.
That's true. That's true. It's phones are the new shampoo bottles.
They are.
We used to always read shampoo bottles. Anybody who's too young to know what that is. Used to get
rinse.
Yeah.
Wet hair, rinse, lather.
All kinds of dyes and all.
Repeat.
All right.
The last step was always repeat. So when do you stop?
That's the whole thing. You never do. It's this whole what the shampoo conglomerates want from you.
Big
Eventually,
shampoo market.
Think about when you repeat how much more shampoo you're going through. Yes. That's a lot of poo. All right, guys. We'll see you guys. Actually, Rob will see you guys on Wednesday again, and I'll be back again Thursday. So we'll both see you then. Appreciate you guys for watching, listening, as always, and as always, Giant fans. Go G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.